Welcome to Cultivating Civility, a podcast series featuring conversations with civic leaders and sages, as well as solo dispatches like this one on tackling toxicity and cultivating civility in our communities. I'm Diane Kalen-Sukra, your host, author of Save Your City, as well as the founder of Kalen Academy. Today's dispatch is about how we make civility win at the ballot box and beyond. Civic culture doesn't collapse overnight. It erodes gradually through tone, trust, and behavior. And that tone is shaped by the people we elect, the way we treat them, and just as importantly, the way we treat each other. That's why the Elect Respect Pledge matters. Spearheaded by Burlington Mayor Marianne Mead Ward and a coalition of Canadian civic leaders, Elect Respect invites both elected officials and citizens to take a stand for dignity, for civility, for democracy, and for the kind of civic life where disagreement doesn't require destruction. This initiative is a growing movement to put respect and civility back at the heart of public life, starting with how we interact and extending to who we entrust with leadership. Take the pledge at electrespect.ca. As Tommy Douglas, the Canadian statesman often credited as the father of universal health care, once said, "The greatest way to defend democracy is to make it work." And today, that means electing leaders who live out democracy's values, leaders who treat others with dignity, model restraint, and reinforce democratic norms in every meeting, every exchange, and every decision. Because when incivility trickles down from the top, it poisons the public square. But when integrity and respect flow from leadership, they ripple outward, raising expectations, calming tensions, and rebuilding trust. We don't need trickle-down incivility. We need trickle-down ethics. We need trickle-down respect, and we need trickle-down civility. 2 steps everyone can take. Civic culture doesn't change in an instant. It takes time. It takes training, leadership development, a resetting of civic norms, and deep community engagement. Exactly the kind of work that we outline in the roadmap to renewing civic culture, detailed in my book, Save Your City, and also available to Civic Wisdom subscribers at kalenacademy.com/newsletter. But there are 2 steps that everyone, citizen or civic leader, can take right now. The first is to be civil. The second is to elect civil. And take the pledge, electrespect.ca. These are not niceties. As I wrote in my recent article published in the National Civic Review titled "Incivility Anywhere is a Threat to Civility Everywhere," these steps are necessary acts of civic repair. Because abuse and intimidation are driving public servants out of office. They're silencing diverse voices. They're weakening institutional trust. And left unaddressed, these patterns don't just harm people, they corrode the very foundation of democracy. When we elect leaders who govern with a servant's heart, who treat others with dignity, we shift the civic tone. We interrupt a culture of contempt and build a climate where participation is welcome, voices are heard, and disagreement is handled with curiosity. What the ancients knew. This isn't a new insight. Plato and Socrates warned that democracies unravel when cultural norms degrade and leadership loses its moral compass. Socrates was concerned not just with the lack of wisdom in leadership, but with what rushes in to fill the void: ego, self-interest, manipulation, and a hunger for power unchecked by principle. When that becomes the dominant leadership style, democracy decays from the inside out. That's why on July 26, civic thinkers from around the world will gather for a symposium titled "Tyranny and Democracy," hosted by Plato's Academy Center in Athens. I'll be delivering one of the featured talks, titled "Diagnosing Civic Culture, Ancient Skill, Modern Necessity." We'll explore how culture collapse precedes democratic collapse, and how renewal begins not with tactics and procedures, but with tone, norms, and the character of those who lead. Featured speakers include Professor James Romm of Bard College, author of Plato and the Tyrant, Professor Michael Fontaine of Cornell University, author of How to Speak Freely, Robert Rosenkranz, author of The Stoic Capitalist, founder of Open to Debate and philanthropist, Dr. Rosalind Fuller, Solonian Democracy Institute, author of Beasts and Gods, Professor Angie Hobbs, University of Sheffield, author of Why Plato Matters Now, Skippy Mezeroff, Healing Our Politics podcast, among others. It's July 26. It's free, it's online, but donations are welcome. Register at platosacademy.org. Thank you for joining me for this Civility Dispatch. If this episode resonates with you, here are a couple of ways to act today. Sign the pledge, electrespect.ca. Register for Tyranny and Democracy at Plato's Academy Center. July 26. You can register at Eventbrite. And for civic leaders who are ready to take it to the next level, develop your own personalized culture transformation plan by taking the Cultivating Civility Masterclass at kalenacademy.com/Civility Masterclass. This has been Cultivating Civility, a podcast series hosted by me, Diane Kalen-Sukra. Let's work together to make civility win at the ballot box and beyond. Thank you.